People frequently ask about getting the water out of a water hoop or getting tape residue off of your hoop once you take the tape off. So in this video, we will take this water hoop and we will let the water out, take the foil off, and then take the residue off as well. This is a standard wave hoop that you can get at Target or Walmart or Toys R Us. They usually come in 2 sizes. I've only ever seen them in 2 sizes. Today we will be working with a small one in order to have doubles. This is one that I've previously let the water out of and taken the foil off of. There are 2 typical ways to let the water out. One would be to boil or use a blow dryer on the connector and then pop it open and let the water drain. And then the other is to drill a hole or screw a hole through the tubing and let the water drain that way. I prefer to drill a hole because I think it's easier, and also I worry about ruining the integrity of the connector, and I know tons of people pop it open and pop it back together and have no problems with it, but when I went to go buy this one, there were a few wave hoops that were popped open and they wouldn't go back together, and I think maybe the tubing was broken, but at any rate, to me it's just a lot easier to drill a hole. The basic equipment that you need is a screwdriver and a screw, and I will also recommend having something hard to put on your leg or using a ledge or something else so that while you're screwing the screw into the hoop, in case you slip, you don't stab yourself in the leg. The only thing to keep in mind when you go to do this is to not try and screw through this connector. So you can see that I actually did screw through the connector, and since the connector is green, you can see the green connector piece inside the hole, and that made the water very, very, very hard to get out. It's hard to see, but I think the connector is about here. It's always under this sticker. So just go past the sticker and then maybe a little bit more. Really, you can do it anywhere you want at all. I want to do it on the outside of the hoop, close to the connector, because, well, why not? So what we're going to do is take the nail, the screw. It is really a screw. It's pretty short. I was looking for this and I found some long screws, but if it's too long, it's going to be harder to stabilize, so I really recommend using a shorter one, and this is a Phillips. So then we're going to press pretty hard as we get the screw going. I'm trying to stabilize it with my fingers, and this is the hardest part, is getting it into the hoop to begin with. Okay, now that it's starting to go, it's going to be a little bit easier, but I'm still going to guide the screw and use 2 hands to make sure I'm going straight through. And I think we're all the way through. I'm committed to doing the entire video inside, so we're going to use a bowl to drain this into, and I don't want to go into the bathroom. One thing you can do to make this easier is to put another hole on the other side of the hoop so that air comes in really easy, but I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to. And we're just going to drain it in. So when we're draining, just going like this, I have found is the most effective way. You would think that maybe swinging it around would help get the water out, but in my experience that did not help at all. It was very slow to get the water out that way, and doing this is really the most effective way to get the water out, I think, in my experience. At least the most effective if you don't want to screw another hole up here. My phone died, so I did the rest of that off camera, but it's mostly gone. There might be a little bit left, not to worry. So now we're going to take the foil off, and I warn you, it smells weird. I don't know why. So here we go. The last thing that we'll do, since this got a little rough and it's really scratchy, is just take a little bit of sandpaper and sand off that part that hurts. Now if you do this before you take the foil off, the foil will actually take up the scratching, so you won't scratch your hoop, which I didn't really think about that at the time. You should notice that the foil is wrapped around the hoop, and there's a seam along the foil that goes around. So at the connector, I picked up the corner of the foil, and now I'm going to try and take it off in chunks that are as big as possible. Now that it's going, I can lift along the seam, and the bigger chunks you can take at a time, the better. So let's see how far I can take this. So now that the first kind of layer is gotten, I can pull it farther, and it's all coming off in one piece, which is really nice. So, pulling it up. Thanks, cat. No! Alright. I was trying to be fancy, and it was a bad idea. I should keep my method. So it tore a little bit. See if I can get it going in one piece again. Voila! Now that we've taken off the foil, you can hopefully see that there's some sticky residue left over. So what I'm going to do is use WD-40. You can also use Goo Gone, which I just tried using that the other day for the first time on a hoop, and getting the residue off was so hard that I said never again, I'm always using WD-40. So I like to use WD-40, which is also great for a billion things around the house, so you might as well have it. And then a paper towel to wipe. If you want to use a towel, you'll want to make sure that you're using a WD-40 towel or a towel that you don't mind throwing away. And it's not necessary, but I'm going to use a rubber glove today because I don't feel like getting it off my hands. I usually don't bother, but my hands have been cleaning a lot lately and they're kind of irritated. I'm going to put a towel down since I'm doing this on the carpet, not in the bathroom. And what we're going to do is take our paper towel and then spray some WD-40 on the paper towel. Then just take the hoop and your paper towel, and it smells so good. This is one thing you can do to make it a little bit easier but make it come off quickly. Let the hoop do the work for you, or you can just rub. So now we've finished, and there's a little bit of tape residue in there. It's caught in my paper towel, which is nice. It didn't really come off the paper towel, I think because the tape came off really clean today, which in the past it hasn't for me. So now that there's WD-40 all over my hoop, what you're going to want to do, what I'm going to do, is use just dish soap and water, and that'll take it right off. There we go. Now I have double. Oh, there's a chair there. 2, 3, leave. So I hope that helped with taking water out of a water hoop and taking tape residue off of your hoop. Happy hooping. There we go.